Hello and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to make a quick informative video about garbage disposals, some things that I wasn't aware of before I started working in the trades, and some basics for homeowners, just to keep people informed. Things you can check before you call out a plumber if you are having an issue with your garbage disposal, and basics about usage. Definitely if you have a family, kind of good in my opinion to have at least a 3/4 horsepower. Half horsepower is okay if you're maybe by yourself and you're using it lightly. We are able to put small portions of rice down ours. Definitely never want to put chicken bones. I've had eggs block them up in the past on calls I've been out to. Thick vegetable peels, like something like an avocado skin, would be a big no-no. And always want to have the water running when you're using the thing. A lot of times you're able to hook the dishwasher up to them, another nice bonus to them. Once you have one, it's pretty hard to live without one. The things you want to check, number one, anytime you're going to do anything with it, if you have a problem, is, in my case, I have a plug, but you definitely want to have the power off to it. So if yours doesn't plug in, just having the switch off most likely is safe, but ideally you would shut the breaker off to it so you have no power going to it. And especially if you're going to be looking in the basket strainer up here to see if there's anything lodged in there. So after you have the power off, you'd want to look underneath, and you can see this little red button over here. If that is protruding out, it's kind of just like a breaker of its own. It's, I believe, a thermal limit switch, so if the motor overheats, it would pop out and indicate that the unit's not going to turn on at all, and you wouldn't hear anything if you turn the switch on. If that hasn't popped out yet, you'd probably hear a humming. Another thing I find a lot of homeowners don't know, and units always come with this tool, it's really just a 1/4 inch shank. Anything like a drill bit that's 1/4 inch or an Allen key will work, but right in the center of it, this fits. You can actually turn the drum manually. So sometimes something that's soft and just blocking it up a little, you can do that on your own without having to spend big money on having a plumber come out and do it. Usually people tend to be kind of embarrassed when that happens, and it's not cheap to have somebody come out. So those are the first things you would check. Beyond that, if you're unable to take care of it simply like that, obviously it's smart to call a licensed professional. Not something I'd recommend people really messing with too much, but if you're handy and you'd like to, hopefully these things help you out a little bit. If you do have one installed, even if it's not giving you any trouble, one thing to check that I find on many of them is to make sure that these tabs are all the way against this metal post right here. And right about here, this has to slide over a little hump on all three portions that slide on, and that's kind of like a locking tab. I learned as an apprentice to make sure of that, because if you don't, the vibration from this thing will actually eventually make it fall off, and you can snap the trap arm off. This is in my rental property that I live in. It's been here for 3 years. We've never had any issues with it. Certainly not hooked up the best way, but I didn't do it, and it's never given us any trouble, so I've never needed to have the landlord do anything about it. And once you have one, it's pretty hard to live without it, I would say. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of inform people that might not know much about it. This is a conversation I have with homeowners all the time when they call us out for either a jam disposal or thinking about replacing the disposal, and some of these things people have no idea about. So if you have one and are having any issues, those are a few small things you could check before calling a plumber out. If you are in the greater Boston area, primarily the city itself and the South Shore, feel free to give me a call at 857-505-6893. The company name is Adams Services, and I'd be happy to speak with you over the phone and try to help you through your troubles and come out and give you some pricing and provide service to you. I try to be very informative with all my customers and really like people to understand what's going on in their home with their appliances so that they better understand what I'm doing and are more appreciative of the service I provide and understanding of the cost for a plumber to do a quality job. Again, I didn't install this, so please don't take this as my work. This is really shoddy work, but it works. It is what it is. I pay to live here, and I'm not gonna do any work here that's gonna come out of my pocket for free. If it broke, I certainly would have them fix it. So yeah, I hope this was useful, and you know, some small information was gained by anybody. Then it's meaningful to me. Again, you have a reset underneath the unit, something to check right off the bat. And again, whether it's with the tool I had or any 1/4 inch hex head chuck or Allen key, you can manually spin that drum to check it for yourself. And if it sounds really bad, definitely do the right thing and call a licensed professional. That way you can get the job fixed correctly, and hopefully these tips might even help you make sure the person you have does a good job when they do fix it and install it correctly. And you can get anything from a 1/3 horsepower disposal, which is kind of a joke in my opinion, all the way up to a 1 horsepower and possibly even above, more in commercial settings, but they have batch feed. I'm really not a big fan of those. Those of you have a cover control that you're turning it on with. I prefer one with a switch. So if you found this helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving a thumbs up. It's a big help to me. And thanks again for checking out the video.